We usually expect toxic family dynamics to be loud. We look for the screaming match, the slammed door, or the obvious insult. We assume that if a family is dysfunctional, the evidence will be visible to anyone standing in the room. But in many families, no one ever raises their voice. The dinners are orderly. The conversations are polite. Yet the person who marries into this group often leaves these gatherings feeling a specific, localized sense of dread. This is the difference between overt and covert dysfunction. In an overt system, aggression follows a straight line from one person to another. In a covert system, the aggression is structural. The perimeter remains smooth and unbroken, but it slowly constricts the space available to the newcomer. Because there is no yelling to point to, the outsider begins to doubt their own pulse. You feel the pressure, but since the surface remains calm, you conclude that the problem must be internal. You begin to question your own sanity. This atmosphere creates a specific outcome. Since there is no visible conflict, any friction that arises is attributed solely to the person who noticed it. In this environment, every systemic problem eventually becomes your fault. When you enter an established family unit, you are more than a guest. You are a new variable that forces the existing members to recalculate their social math. This often reveals a set of contradictory rules. A sister-in-law may demand total independence for her own marriage, yet insist that her brother remains tethered exclusively to his parents. She wants her husband for herself, but she wants her brother for the original unit. In family systems theory, they call this enmeshment. It's a state where individual boundaries are blurred, and the members function as a single, fused emotional organism rather than a collection of independent adults. An enmeshed family prioritizes homeostasis, the maintenance of its original shape. As this diagram shows, energy circulates freely between the original nodes, but when an outside node attempts to connect, the system perceives a threat. The outer barrier hardens. The sister-in-law acts as a gatekeeper, enforcing loyalty to the parents, serving the system's need to stay exactly as it was. Within this framework, the new spouse is never a welcomed addition. Structurally, the outsider is a foreign body that the system is designed to reject. To maintain the rejection without looking like the bad guy, the family uses a set of quiet, practical methods. They employ weaponized politeness, a kindness that feels hollow and performative. They use exclusion by omission, where plans are made and finalized before you are even aware a conversation was happening. These tactics provide the family with plausible deniability. If you complain about being left out, they can simply claim they forgot, or that they assumed you were busy. This chart tracks a typical decision. It starts with the parents, bypasses you, and travels through the sibling to your spouse. By the time it reaches your household, the decision is already an established fact. This isolation is the goal. Moving information through back channels ensures no direct aggression to confront, leaving you surrounded by whispers. The purpose of this silence is to strip you of your ability to defend yourself. When a system removes the shouting, it also removes your evidence. Eventually, the weight of the isolation becomes too much. You reach a breaking point, and you finally react, perhaps by snapping at a dinner or setting an unyielding boundary. The family immediately seizes on this moment. They point to your visible frustration as the definitive proof that you are the difficult one. This is reactive abuse. It's a mechanism where an individual is pushed by invisible pressure, only for their reaction to be labeled as the original sin. So months, a steady baseline of covert pressure builds until a single sharp spike, your reaction. The family zooms in on that spike. By removing the preceding months of pressure from the frame, they use that single moment to label you the villain. This is why the mother-in-law in this system cannot be a mother to you. The two roles require different structures. A mother requires an open system of care. This family requires a scapegoat to carry the blame for its own dysfunction. The realization that the game is rigged is the first step toward leaving the table. When you understand the architecture of the silence, you can stop searching for your own fault and finally start building boundaries that the system can no longer penetrate.